Here we are at Rochester Castle Gardens. This is the castle. Over there is the cathedral. Those are the loos. And then you have some wall stuff going on around here. Today's fragrance is Tyger Tyger.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you hadn't already guessed, this perfume review is for Tyger Tyger by Francesca Bianchi. Here is my bottle. I bought this bottle. It arrived early January, very early. Might have been end of December, early January. As you can see, I've made quite a decent dent in that. That's extract de parfum, so it's very strong, but it's a fragrance that I'm happy to overspray, which is a first for me with Francesca Bianchi. So this for me is going to be an easier review than Francesca Bianchi perfume usually affords, because usually Francesca Bianchi perfumes have so many different elements and so many things change, and they really take you on a journey. And it's not to say that this doesn't take you on a journey, but it's more of a day trip than a massive adventure across the world for 6 months. So let me get into it and you'll kind of understand where I'm going with this. So let's start off with the official notes. Honey, white flowers, peach jam, leather, heliotrope, oak moss, sandalwood, argarwood, also known as oud, patchouli. So they are the notes. Now, if I was just looking at these notes, I would think that's probably not for me, because there's quite a few notes in here I don't like, and there's a couple that I'm a bit hit and miss on. So first of all, I'm just going to talk you through that. So there's a honey note. I don't get an unctuous honey like, for example, Kilian's Back to Black. I don't really like the honey in that fragrance. I get honeyed white flowers. So what I mean by that is almost like if you have these gorgeous white florals, but they give off their own nectar, like they release little dewdrops of just beautiful, edible, honey-like floral taste and smell. So that's what I get. So I don't get full-on honey, I get honeyed florals. Peach jam. I get a fruity element from this. I wouldn't specifically have called it peach. Now I know it's peach. I can kind of feel it, but it doesn't feel like the kind of peach I'm used to, that the synthetic-y, syrupy, sweet or sharp peach. This is more soft, powdery, just a fruity element that's in that ballpark. Peach, nectarine, an orange or apricot-y coloured fruit, stone fruit I guess, but soft, not syrupy, not sharp. The leather I don't really get as a hard leather, it's more of a suede-like feel. Heliotrope, today I didn't even spot it. If you watch my initial impressions video, I actually sprayed the sample when I got it live on a live stream, and I think I picked out heliotrope at that point, so I just didn't really notice it today. So there you go. I mean, notes playing hide and seek, typical kind of Francesca Bianchi perfume, so much in there that you don't always pick everything out. Oak moss is much toned down. So I've got the lover's tail, and in the dry down of that, the oak moss is very, very dominant. To the point I don't really love it when it gets to the far dry down. It's a little too green for me. Now we are hours and hours into this, so let's think. I sprayed it about 1 p.m. It's now about 8:30 p.m. So there you go, about the 7-8 hour mark, and I'm not really picking out oak moss. It's probably stopping the fragrance being too sweet. It's probably balancing it, but I'm not specifically picking out. That's a plus for me. If you are a lover of oak moss and you're expecting lots and lots of oak moss, then you might be disappointed. Sandalwood, I think just sandalwood and patchouli, I think just join the sweet and creamy accords that you get here. And argarwood, aka oud, I don't pick up on. So that's the notes how I perceive them, and I'm just going to talk you through actually how it worked for me today. So on the first spray, and I'm going to respray actually, I'll do it over here so I can still get to the far dry down without overwhelming it. So we'll go over here a little bit. Yeah, so first spray is quite overwhelming, and there is a rich fruitiness, and I've put here pinks and oranges, so I'm not specifically thinking peach, although that's what we are told, peach jam, and I can kind of see it now. But in reality, I think the average person is just going to smell something that's a little bit fruity but soft and fluffy. So when I first sampled this, I remember thinking iris, and I still believe there's probably iris in here, even though it's not listed. I haven't checked, I should have asked Francesca, but it feels to me like there's a lovely iris note in here mixing with that fruitiness to give it a kind of powdery, almost like the peach skin texture, which potentially this leather note could come from an iris element. It could be helped with iris maybe, because I get swayed sometimes from smelling iris. So straight up, it's kind of powdery, iris, fruity, suede, but the florals are there immediately, and they are gorgeous, rich, and like I say, honeyed. So yeah, imagine that they're exuding a syrupy nectar, a syrupy sweet nectar. And the florals, I believe there is a little bit of tuberose in here. I think there might be jasmine. I'm not entirely sure, but it is an accord of white florals, like I don't know, there's almost like a little bitter green element, which I hadn't picked up on, and I haven't made a note of here, but smelling it now, there is a bitter green, almost like a neroli. So possibly there's neroli as well, and maybe even a tiny touch of petitgrain. And petitgrain is the leaves and twigs of the orange tree. So I'm getting that kind of, that can be quite sharp as well, a little bit bitter. So I get this honeyed sweet florals, but also counterbalanced by a slightly green bitterness. But more than anything, it's quite sweet. The sweetness is way more up there than any bitterness. So don't worry if you think the fragrance is bitter, it's not. But there's a little bit of bitterness that stops it being too sweet, I think. So yeah, the florals I've written here, I thought that there might be frangipani or ylang ylang. I really don't know. It doesn't smell specifically like any one white floral. It just smells like a beautiful bouquet, and it's very honeyed and sweet. Not sharp, not screechy at all. But underneath it all, and what I've written here is there's a sweet, rich, suede-like supporting cushion. A suede, vanilla, and all the sweet resins. It feels like they're sitting underneath that syrupy floral with the soft, powdery peach skin on this suede-like cushion. And I love it. I absolutely love it. So I've written here, it doesn't creep, but it pounces. So obviously it's Tyger Tyger. It's from the William Blake perfume, The Tyger. And a tiger, of course, is, do you like my jumper? It's not tiger stripes, but it's a big cat. It's the best I could do. And of course, a tiger is a scary, terrifying beast. When I say this one pounces, it doesn't creep up on you, what I mean is, in terms of the notes of the fragrance, I feel like you get them all at once. pounces. The whole fragrance pounces on you from the get-go. So the opening's pretty bold, but I love it. The opening's pretty bold. Everything pounces at you at once. Every single note, well, the ones that I get and the extra ones that aren't listed, but everything in this perfume just hits you at once. And I like that. It's interesting, it's different. When I was out today in Rochester, you would have seen the castle, I had to stop and I took my notebook with me, and I had to stop and write down, because out of nowhere I thought, it smells a little bit like gingerbread, a little bit doughy, like a sweet gingerbread dough, maybe not even cooked gingerbread, but the dough. And I don't know, I don't think there's any ginger in here, but it just has that. Maybe there is a bit of spice that's not listed, or one of the notes could be giving off a spicy element. Sandalwood can sometimes be a little bit spicy. Something felt spicy, but it was mixing in with all the lovely sweetness and making me think of gingerbread dough. Of course, isn't, you know, gingerbread dough is not a listed note, funnily enough, but it's that warm, cozy, edible feel of gingerbread dough. As this fragrance develops on your skin, well, to be honest with you, it doesn't develop that much, and that's what surprised me. So there's a few things that surprised me about this perfume. The development is really not much at all. Now, Francesca Bianchi's perfumes normally develop a lot, and this really doesn't change that much. It gently calms down. The opening notes, the ones that pounce on you, they just seem to soften, and eventually that you'll realise the florals have almost disappeared, and the sweeter, resinous, vanilla-y base is more about what the perfume's all about. But in terms of do I notice anything come extra into play at any point? Not really, not so far, and I've worn it quite a few times. So it just gently kind of, as I say, the florals do start to gently fade, although I don't really notice them fading until I just realise that they're not really that prominent anymore. And I get a musky, powdery, more vanillic feel from the far dry down. So I feel like it loses some of the notes, it loses some of the complexity, and it is more of a clean musk, gorgeous vanilla note. I'm guessing it's a natural vanilla in here. There's no listed vanilla note, but I need to ask. I should just ask Francesca. I feel like there's vanilla in here. I get not a cupcake, vanillin. It smells like a natural vanilla, and that's kind of really it. Maybe a touch of resinous quality to it, bit powdery, musky, and vanillic, maybe just a tiny bit of that spicy sandalwood, and I think it is sandalwood now. Now I'm thinking about it, I think it is the sandalwood that I'm smelling. That's a little tiny pinch of spiciness. Yes, I think so, but who knows? Who knows? But I'm just trying to describe it to give you the best idea of what it might smell like. So that's what I'm doing. Today on my Instagram, I posted about it being my scent of the day, and I was saying how I was trying to come up with a description for the texture, because sometimes it's a little suede-like, yet the flower element is kind of syrupy and sweet, yet there's some powderiness, and it's kind of rich as well, so it's almost like a velvet. And I just was really struggling, how do I describe the texture of this perfume? It's, in my opinion, it's multi-textured. You get different textures, sometimes several textures at once. And I just wanted to read out a couple of comments from my Instagram. Justine, who is known as ms.jtl, she said that she dismantled her sample vial because it just had a tiny bit in the bottom that she couldn't manage to spray out. She found it so addictive that she dismantled the vial with her scissors to be able to get at that last tiny bit of remaining juice. And then Brenda, aka Lioness, perfect name for this to talk about this scent, she described it as a warm, silken exuberance, and also said it very addicting. I thought I'd just give you a couple of other people's opinions, and you know, clearly two people that really love the perfume. So really that's it. This review still managed to go on to be over 15 minutes long, so I'm sorry. I really thought I'd do this one a bit quicker. Overall, I absolutely love Tyger Tyger. I really love it. If you like the more animalic stuff from Francesca, you might not find it that exciting. If you quite like Francesca Bianchi perfumes, but they've all been a bit too challenging so far, you might find this is the perfect one for you. It's definitely my favourite from her collection, and I really hope she makes an oil. So Francesca does have some body oils to match her perfumes, but not all of them. And I've got the Sex and the Sea Neroli one. I really hope she does Tyger Tyger because I want to put that in my hair. I want to put it all over my body. I will absolutely love that. So Francesca, if you're watching, and I hope you are, then please make a Tyger Tyger oil if it's possible. Thank you very much. So that's it then. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I will see you in another video.